bet I can guess what you're thinking. Wow, she is an amazing runner. Look how fast she's flying down that road. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I shot this video from my bike. I wanted to give you an idea of what it would look like if I were actually running while I narrated this video. But when I tried to shoot some video clips while actually running, they turned out like scenes from the Blair Witch Project. But you get the idea, and you can definitely see why Reno is such a great place to be outdoors. Nevertheless, I'm getting ahead of myself, and I should probably give you a little bit of background info. My name is Amy, and I work as a project manager here in Reno, Nevada. I haven't always lived in this little slice of paradise, but now that I've discovered it, I definitely plan to stay. I'm originally from Falcon Heights, Minnesota, which I'm sure you've never heard of, but it's a suburb of the Twin Cities. And although I've traveled all over the world and even visited all 7 continents, Reno is by far my favorite city to live in. The weather is amazing year-round, almost never too hot or too cold, especially by Minnesota standards, and there's plenty of vitamin D to go around. Also, if you're like me and you like to try new things and play outdoors, there's an endless supply of activities to choose from. Lately, though, the activity I've found myself doing more than anything else, particularly now that ski season is over, is running. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not an amazing runner. I know you probably thought this is how fast I can actually run, but I could only aspire to someday run this fast. So why run? Running for me is all about the challenge. It's about facing down an enemy and emerging victorious. Running can bring out the best and the worst in a person, and when you're running, your only real competition is yourself. That little nagging voice in your head that says, "I'm too tired today," or "my ankle kind of hurts," or any of the other myriad of possible excuses designed to convince you that you should be doing something else. Anything else but running. I've had a love-hate relationship with running my whole life. Regardless of what shape I've been in, at the time, running has always been a struggle for me, and no matter how hard I would try, it just never seemed to get any easier. I could never seem to run as fast or as far as I wanted, and I was always finding it much too easy to quit before I really needed to. But as a person that naturally seeks out new and bigger challenges from life, I'm kind of like a moth to a flame when it comes to running. This is also why I love working as a project manager. I'm always getting to learn new things, meet new people, and face new obstacles. But unlike running, when it comes to project management, conquering these challenges always seems to come fairly easily. This just serves to make me all the more determined to master the art of running as well. So I stick with it, waiting and hoping for the day it might actually get better for me. And I had been convinced for years that if I could just be more dedicated to my training and put in more time and distance, someday, somehow, it would magically become easy. That was until a friend of mine told me about her 9 myths about runners. She said the number one myth is that people always assume that running must be easy for her because she does it all the time and she's pretty good at it. This was something I had also believed unconditionally my entire life. But she went on to say that running is stupid effing hard, and I think you just get used to being uncomfortable. Needless to say, this was a huge revelation for me. What I had never stopped to consider was that the reason running stayed hard for me, no matter what shape I was in, was that I was continually making it harder on myself. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't intentionally sabotaging myself or anything. But each time it got even a tiny bit easier, I was pushing myself that much harder, thereby negating any perceived improvement. That completely changed the way I think about and approach my running. So now, instead of waiting for it to get easier, I try to focus on simply seeing where I can improve on each run. Yes, I still have bad days. But the general trend is improvement, and I'm very proud of what I've accomplished so far. And that's another great thing about running. Running is a phenomenal confidence builder. It'd be impossible for me to convey to you the sense of accomplishment and pride that comes from finishing a race, especially a crazy, long, daunting race like a marathon or a half marathon. You finish one of those and you feel like you could actually take on the world. I want to share my experiences, both good and bad, in the hopes that I just might be able to convince other people like me to get out and give running a shot, and ideally convince you that while running may seem hard at first, the benefits are absolutely worth the effort.